if you're looking to better your property and to, feed deer year round, make sure your turkeys are fed, make sure your deer are healthy, you have to make sure your ground's healthy to sustain what you're doing to it, because you're putting a lot of different things in there and it's pulling nutrients every day out of that ground. So you have to put something back and make sure that, your pH level's correct so that stuff is working the way it's supposed to. Not only that, but the chemicals, when you come back and spray them, all that kind of ties into your pH.
I mean, and it's going to make it cheaper for you. You're going to spend more money on seed and chemicals and fertilizer because it's not going to do its job if your pH isn't right.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to Buck Junkies. Today we're sitting in here. We've been down at the Foxhole shootout, and me, Malcolm, and Colin kind of went down there, and another friend of ours, and we're going to sit in here. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, and we're going to talk a little bit about food plots and techniques. So,
cool season plots.
That's right. It's that time of the year, so we want to touch on that before we get too far into the season and
give you a rundown on what we're going to do, right?
That's right. Give everybody a rundown on what we're going to do and tell you about the different techniques you can possibly use, and some that we've used that worked and some that we've used that didn't work. So,
yeah, so we got Mr. Colin McKendry sitting in with us. Y'all may have seen him on an episode before. I think you joined us last year sometime.
Yeah, it was after season last year.
So Colin works for, I'll let you kind of tell them what you do, but you're kind of our go-to guy, and we start talking about seed blends and sourcing some of the stuff we use out on at our deer camp. So tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do, Colin.
Yeah, first thing, it's hard to be your go-to seed guy when Mikey probably knows more about seed than I do, but
I don't know about
I work for BWI Companies. We're a wholesale distributor. We do anything you've ever seen in a co-op, we've got it. Our primary thing here lately has really been our wildlife. We got pre-mixed food plot seed. We also sell the raw seed itself. You can combine your own, make your own blend, whatever you prefer to do. But yeah, so we're right in the heart of our busy season with seeds and attractants and everything else. So we're chugging along.
But y'all generally y'all sell to like co-ops and things like that.
Yep.
Tell the people some places they can find some of y'all's products and things like that.
Yeah, if you're local, so the shop here, you can find it at Tri-County here in Hernando. The biggest one, if you've never been to South Tillow, Mississippi, you got to go into Scruggs. You can buy your beer, you can buy your bread, and you can buy your food plot seed in the same place.
Got it all.
Yeah, you can buy your gun while you're there too, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, so you got that. We're in Batesville at the co-op. We're in Senatobia at Tate County Co-op. We're any co-op in the whole state of Mississippi and surrounding states.
I was going to say, your company is more the whole South region, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Texas is kind of our bread and butter. That's our headquarters. Mm-hmm. But we have a Memphis office here and a Jackson office that a good buddy of ours works at. And we're, anywhere surrounding states to Mississippi, we got it.
So last Wednesday, I guess we usually make this trip down to West Point, Mississippi, where the boys down at Mossy Oak, they have this huge, it's
golf tournament.
It's a lot of different things. Golf tournament. They got a wild game dinner. They have a huge.
It's a banquet. If you've ever been to an outdoors banquet, that's what it is. I guess that's what I call them.
Yeah.
But if you think of the ones where there's usually some kind of raffle going on, I mean, the whole purpose of the Foxhole shootout is to raise money for St. Jude. They, Mossy Oak's been really, really instrumental in helping out various charities, not just St. Jude. I mean, they do a lot in outdoor habitat, conservation, but they also believe in helping kids where they can. And so I think that's how this started. And I think their property division heads up the Foxhole shootout. So if you've ever seen Mossy Oak Properties, that's the same affiliated with Mossy Oak, and all those guys that work in that department of Mossy Oak come together and they put on this yearly, I'm not sure how many years they've done it, but I know they've raised well over $1 million, probably going on $2 billion since I've been doing this.
Yeah, we've been going for 3 years?
Yeah. And they may have only been doing it 5 or 6 years. It hasn't been a long time, but it's been since we decided to go every year. And I think, Colin, you came down and went with us last year.
Yep, last year and this year.
And then you said, man, I'll go back if y'all are going. So
some of the coolest auction items you can ever find.
Oh,
one-on-one custom items. It's really cool stuff.
So obviously we're not golfers. Now I can't speak for Colin, but
No, sir.
Me and Mikey aren't golfers, but we did go down on Wednesday night and hang out. And it's at a really cool place where they have this thing.
They so they have it out there at Old Waverly, or they did this year, where they had the appreciation dinner for the sponsors and things like that. And that's at their clubhouse there. They had I don't know what it was, light appetizers and drinks and things like that is usually the
Little
first
music.
night for anybody that sponsored it. You get to kind of hang out with some of the other guys that were sponsoring it, meet some new people and things like that before you really get into the next night where there's thousands of people at that thing the next night.
It felt like it.
Yeah. But, they usually have a sponsorship dinner there at Old Waverly. Year before last, they had it over at Mossy Oaks Golf Course across the street. But yeah, they have wine and beer and a lot of different drinks and light appetizers. You get to hang out with some folks that you normally wouldn't get to see. There's all the Mossy Oak guys are there. A lot of other, people that are influential to the hunting industry and things like that walking around. So you get an opportunity to see some people normally you wouldn't see except for on your phone or on your computer or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. But yeah, we went to that thing Wednesday night. We didn't eat. Of course, we kind of stay back in the back and just kind of hang out and talk to everybody. But we went over to, what was the restaurant we went to? Was it Anthony's?
Anthony's Fresh Market.
Man, if you have never been to Anthony's in West Point, Mississippi.
Downtown West Point.
Yes, old part of town. Man, you are freaking missing out. I mean, that place was top notch, man.
I don't know how old that place is, but it has that nostalgic kind of vibe to it. Like it's an older restaurant. I'm sure it's been there. I mean, for a long, long time, it felt like. But it's basically like an old school steakhouse. I mean, they had a lot of seafood dishes too.
Yeah, brick building, kind of older building there with, the brick interior and stuff like that. Really, really, really nice old building, very clean. The menu was out of this freaking world, man. We tried something that we normally wouldn't try.
Yeah.
And I was a little skeptical of it, but it was a daggone deep fried avocado. I mean,
it was on the appetizer list.
Yeah, it was on the appetizer list. So what they did was they split these avocados, and then they get the rind off of it, and then they batter it, and then they fry it, and they serve it with this almost like a Asian Thai chili sauce or something like that.
It had a little spice to it. It was a little sweet, a lot of flavor.
But it was.
And then some
what did you think?
Shrimp.
Yeah, it was topped with shrimp. It did have Creole shrimp over the top of the Creole shrimp sauce or something like that set on top of it. But what'd you think about the fried avocado?
Man, so that's definitely something I've never had as a fried avocado. I've had guacamole before, or I've had it on eating Mexican food. Never thought of serving it like that, and more of an Asian style dish, I would say, with the sauce they had paired with it and the shrimp. But it was really good. I mean, to me, avocado, it's a texture thing, it can get a little weird mouthfeel when you heat it up just because of what it is. But it worked with that panko crust on the outside, so you had a real crunchy element. Then it was kind of creamy, but then it had that sweet and spicy sauce, and then you had a shrimp to go with it. I was a fan of it. I thought it was pretty good. It was different. I didn't expect to see that on the menu there.
That's still healthy, right?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Good fat.
It's what's inside that counts, Colin.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Avocado is a good fat.
You can always scrape off the outside.
We offset the healthiness with the fried cheese balls.
Yeah. That was the other appetizer. It was the fried cheese balls.
Platter of fried cheese balls. Yeah. And then I went for the ribeye. They had a Cajun ribeye steak with the shrimp Creole sauce over the top of it and with some asparagus. And I'm telling you, it was a fine steak.
Yeah, they were, they had several different types of the way they prepared the steaks. The steaks themselves, I didn't see a whole lot of, they had like a filet and ribeye mostly was what was on the
strip. I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's about it though. It was a pretty simple menu.
But some of your best ones, you don't have a huge selection of, this steak or this steak or this one. But they had that steak nailed down, son. I mean, it was tender. It was seasoned well.
Filet? Is that what you got?
Yeah, I got a stuffed filet, which blue cheese is a little stout inside of it, which I like blue cheese. I pulled it out, stirred it in the mashed potatoes, and
made a little.
Yeah. It had a
mashed. I like a blue cheese mashed potato.
It had a marsala sauce on the outside edge of the plate, and then the blue cheese was in the middle. So, but the steak, man, it was seasoned well. It was it was one of the finer steaks I've eaten ever.
Then after that, we went back to the cottage we were staying in, and the guys from Rolling Thunder come over and hung out with us a little bit. And we had
We had some land bank
Yeah,
guys. We had Rolling Thunder.
From Mississippi Land
We had a
Bank.
popular little cottage there for a little while, man.
Turtle box and the brown water started flowing a little bit. Man, next thing you know, we're singing songs and talking food plots.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A buddy of ours, Matt Crick, he don't no longer works for Land Bank. He works for somebody else now, but he's been a friend of ours for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, got to talk to him and Matt was showing me some pictures. You know, I was going to talk about this a little bit. Matt was showing me some pictures of some of his deer and like right the property that he has. He's got these little basket rack 8 points that he cannot. I mean, every one of them are pretty much that same thing. But he was asking about that. You know, what should we do? How do we change this stuff like that? So
you want me to tell you the short answer to that?
You can tell him because I know what it is, and that's what I told him.
Basket rack. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I know he's not killing that many deer off of it. They're trying to grow some deer, but the neighbors are probably waxing them.
Yeah.
Because if that's all you're seeing is these little 2-year-old 8 points, the only way you get them bigger, it ain't no secret. It ain't supplemental feeding. It ain't protein. It ain't food plots.
Yeah.
Just let them jokers grow. Age is the only thing that does it.
And that's a hard thing to do with your neighbor because
it is hard.
that's his property.
When you don't have
that property,
if you don't have vast we don't. We've got neighbors that all like to hunt.
Yep. Yeah.
And you know, if you get them on the same program where they're willing to let the bucks get some age on them, you can kill some decent deer. But if everybody's trigger happy and they're just beat hunting, you're never going to get out of those basket rack 8s. And you'll think that, oh man, my nutrition's bad or my habitat's not supporting the deer. That's not always the case.
No, it can be a factor in that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, all the pictures that he showed me, they were 2.5-year-old deer, just tight rack bucks, you know. And I started showing him ours. He was like, "How do you got that?" I said, "That ain't even.
Yeah,
that's just what I got on camera." I said, "You know, you got some running around out there, but you got to let them go, dude." I mean, you know, you could tell they were younger deer. They're pencily neck, pencily horns, you know, humpback. You know, their shoulders weren't developed yet and stuff like that, and they were just.
I want to see his mature deer. Like if he kills one he knows is 4 or 5 years old, what those look like. Now,
that's where you.
If your horns ain't looking right on those, you can tell you got nutritional problems, or you got a population problem, or you got nutritional problems. But say if you've got, you know, those old bucks ain't gonna hang around when there's a bunch of young bucks to run on. There's plenty, way more does, and those old bucks don't like cameras.
No,
you don't believe they know where them cameras are? I guarantee you they do.
Oh, I remember even when y'all got y'all's property talking to Mikey. I mean, y'all had a lot of that same situation. Y'all had the pencil antlers. Y'all had the young bucks that were just going crazy. And I remember Mikey saying, "Well, our mature bucks are somewhere. We're not in front of them." So I mean, that's a perfect example of it. I mean,
that's
we've all gone through it.
Yeah. The number one thing we did was we worked on our numbers first.
Yeah. That's
before we did anything. Yeah. And that didn't mean killing bucks. I mean, we let bucks. There was a year we didn't kill any bucks.
I think there was a year that the only buck that was killed may have been one of the kids, you know, that hadn't hardly killed any deer. And we let one or two of them shoot a.
So do y'all think that hurts you? Like if, say, you know, you got a property and all your deer, all your bucks are young, all you're seeing is these 2.5-year-old pencily rack bucks, and you got all these doe. What do y'all think about letting kids shoot any buck they want?
To me, all right. So to me, if you've got a kid that's already killed a deer, you know, I feel like the program, you got to kill something bigger than you killed last year is the correct program to be on with a kid. Not to tell him you can't
shoot.
You know, you can't shoot.
Because you're going to age them out. They're going to buck out.
Right.
They're not going to want to, because there's just going to come a point where you're not going to kill them.
Well, number one, you're trying to develop that thought process of, you know, management and stewardship in their head, you know, instead of just killing. You know, we've had to be in that killing state of mind before when we had to take those numbers down, but we stayed off the bucks for the most part, other than a few little cull bucks that we knew we needed to take that just, you know, were trashy or had a bad side or something was wrong with them or something like that. But, I think with a kid, you know, letting them do that. The bad thing is if they smack a good one, you know, now what do? You know, that kind of shoots holes in my theory on it. But, I don't know what you do once they shoot a big one.
Well, in my opinion, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, when I was a kid, I just wanted to pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really
care.
Want
to shoot something.
Yeah, I just want to shoot something. And that's the case. We got thousands of does here in North Mississippi. Have all you want. Shoot all the does you want. I don't care if you kill 3 or 4 in a day. Doesn't bother me. Have fun with it. But yeah, definitely it's I was raised by don't shoot something smaller than you've shot already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're managing a property, not everybody is managing a property. They're just hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're just hunting a property, let them go. Let them go. But if you're on kind of a strict management program like we are on the farms that we have, yeah, I mean that's a little different story there because I really don't.
You need those young bucks.
I need those younger deer, but if you're gonna hunt down here with us, I need you the same frame of mind that we're in. If you want to come down here and continue to hunt down here, not to be a dick about it, but if we got property you can go shoot that on. Come on, we'll take you over there. You can shoot whatever you want to shoot.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty big controversial. That's a controversial question
I think it is
to say because I'm gonna get beat up for saying a kid's got to shoot something bigger than he shot last year. But hey, that's the way I done Will. And the only time I let him shoot something that was smaller than what he shot the year before was it was a coal buck or something we had targeted as we need to take his buck off the property. He's done got hit by a car. Or he's trashy. We don't want him breeding or whatever the case may be. And Will did kill one of those, but. Will's still fired up about hunting. I didn't ruin him.
No. I'm still fired up about it. Nobody.
He's got some decent deer on the wall from doing that too. So
I never had that phase. We hunted properties where we shot what we wanted to shoot. Because we didn't necessarily own anything.
Yeah.
But you might get asked or you got permission to hunt a property. You might have a lease for 2 or 3 years or something like that. You don't really know. Or I was young hunting and. Didn't just if it had there was a time where if it had horns it was a killer we just shoot it because it's got horns. We weren't into management, we weren't into habitat development and all that stuff. So I think you kind of evolve.
You do
as a hunter, as a landowner, as a steward of the land. You kind of your goals change, and that's fine too. I mean, everybody doesn't have to. I'm not saying our way is the right way.
No,
but I think if you own a piece of land and you want to see better deer, putting those management practices is going to help. And I don't think you should get discouraged because you're seeing a bunch of 2-year-old bucks.
No.
That's a good thing. You just
got to correct it.
You got to have the patience to say, I'm going to let them walk, even though the neighbors might not.
Yeah.
Because they ain't going to kill every one of them. And overall, it's going to be better. But, hey, man, it never hurts to go meet that neighbor and see what page you're on.
That's right.
See if they're interested in seeing deer. Tell them what you're seeing. Share some of that because we're all, in it together. I don't care if there's fences or, boundaries separating us or what. You're still in it together, really.
Yeah, you are. And, that all goes back to what we were talking about before. You can't change somebody's mind about management and things like that. You have to do it yourself. And it's not easy for a younger person to do that. A younger generation, they still have that fire wanting to kill everything. Maybe not all of them, but I did.
I did.
If that jugger was legal, I was smoking.
You want to pull that trigger.
But I hunted in high pressure areas and stuff like that too. I wasn't on a heavily managed area. If I was, it'd probably been a lot different.
Yeah, where I grew up hunting, if you didn't kill it, your neighbor was.
Yeah.
So kill it.
Yeah, it's hard to manage what we used to hunt a 30-acre piece of block of woods. If it could cross the whole property in about 2 to 3 minutes. It could be from one fence to the next, and so. Yeah, if it came through there, you better clip it because it ain't coming back.
What about that hog Michael Hunter killed that Wednesday night at the Foxhole shootout?
Dude, man, he said he was going hog hunting. He said, we're going to get one. So they went out. They took a drone, found these hogs out in the field. And the guy actually, did you see the video?
No, did he have it recorded?
Yeah, he had it recorded from the drone. So he was showing Michael and them stalking the hog and the hog standing in the field.
Wow.
And so they were moving it. And I guess he was talking to him either on the phone or they had a radio or something.
Yeah.
He was telling him, you're within 300 yards, 200 yards dead in front of you, and then I guess they got up there enough to where they, he showed it to me on his phone, but he killed a monster freaking hog. I don't know what it weighed. I don't know if they even weighed it.
I asked him. He said they didn't weigh it. It was big. And we posted, I think we shared the story on it.
Michael's a big dude, and that hog is way bigger than he is.
So the way the Foxhole thing is set up for the live fire cooking, they bring all these chefs in that are experts in what they do. Most of it's like wild game cooking. And he's Chef Michael Hunter, I should say. He's from Toronto, Canada. He has a restaurant that he's partnered in called Antler.
That's right.
And they specialize in wild game. And he actually came down and hunted with us. We met him hanging out in Mossy Oak.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to, we talked him into coming down last year and doing some hunts with us. We made some videos on that. You can check it out. But so he always cooked something for this Foxhole shootout. And I think the first year we went, he was down there cooking a wild boar that he had shot.
He had come down a few days earlier. Yep.
And man, I'm telling you, it was some of the best wild boar that I've ever tasted.
Yeah, that guy, he knows how to do that wild boar, man. I mean, it was we had a braised shoulder, I think is what he gave me a piece of. And he had braised into some kind of, cooked it on the grill, smoked it, and then braised it into some kind of a pan, and it was covered in foil, and he pulled it off. So it's kind of like pulled pork barbecue without, I don't even think it had mine didn't have any barbecue sauce. It was just the meat and the braised and liquid and stuff like that. And it was as fine as just about any pulled pork I've ever eaten.
Yeah, I would agree.
I thought I was ruined on wild boar until I had that.
Yeah, see, that's me, man. I'm not crazy about them. Them are nasty animals.
Yeah.
And I don't like messing with them. I mean, the places I've been, well, we don't have them on our place, but when I've been out to Texas, and those guys, they want you to kill every one of them you see. Like if you're hunting, they're like, man, we appreciate it if you shoot the hogs. They don't want to mess with them.
No.
They're like, just shoot them. We'll handle them. We'll go get them with a tractor. We ain't skinning them. I guess if you wanted it, you could do it. But those guys don't even mess with them. They're so nasty.
Yeah.
But he knows how to cook one to make it edible.
Yeah, he's very good at that. I'll give him that.
What was the best thing y'all had at Foxhole? Shoot at the dinner wise.
Oh,
Not to mention
fried quail.
Oh,
fried quail.
that was on my list.
The best fried quail I've ever had.
So those guys from, was it the Mexican Gulf charters down out of Venice, they come up and they kind of do the hors d'oeuvre round, and it's always seafood.
Yeah.
So they had an old boat that they set up there, and man, they had it full of fresh Gulf shrimp. There was tuna ceviche. They were splitting oysters and char grilling them. They had some raw. The best thing I had, they'd made a smoked tuna dip.
Yeah,
man, it was fantastic.
I love smoked.
Yeah, it was so. The shrimp were excellent too. Now, the oysters, it was a little warm for me to be eating raw oysters on the half shell trucked up to a pasture in the middle of the way. If I'd been on the coast, I'd have probably been a little bit more. But I didn't want any gut trouble. Eating those.
News
I knew
about
a little
scary
better. Yeah, news is scary on
so.
those right now. I'm sure the char grill ones were okay. I didn't try those, but I mean, they had all kinds of stuff. I mean, what we saw, somebody did a ribeye. I don't know.
Michael Hunter
did some of those too. But what were some of the other dishes y'all saw? It was like was there a paella or something like that? There was a
I didn't
lamb.
I went around.
Did some lamb.
Yeah, there was some lamb out there. There was another wild hog dish that somebody did.
The hot honey.
Zane. Was that boy's name?
Zane. Yeah.
He did those. Yeah.
The hot honey garlic lamb. I was not a lamb fan at all.
Yeah.
That was very, very good. They had it rolled up on a skewer.
Yeah, it looked like lollipop.
It was very
skewer.
good.
Yeah. They had all kinds of food. So if you're if you like eating exotic stuff, that's the event to go to.
Absolutely.
Because it's included with your ticket. Now, if you play golf, you can go and play golf. You know, one of the best bites I had, somebody had made these little homemade oatmeal cream pies.
Oh, they were fantastic.
It was like a bite.
Yeah.
Dude, those things, like, man, if you'd have had some milk to go with that, it'd have been like all bets off.
That's what I said when I sat down at the table. I said, man, I wish they had like a glass of 2% milk right about now, because that'd sure be good.
They always have good desserts there too, man.
It went all right with a gold top. It'd have been better with some milk.
It wasn't bad.
But no, that was it. I didn't win anything. Did y'all win? Y'all didn't win anything either.
Didn't win anything.
No, we didn't win anything.
That's all right. It's
y'all was sitting too close to me. My luck's terrible.
Yeah, I never do. I don't usually do too good at the ticket drawing and stuff.
That's a money well spent.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
fine with that.
But if you like those auctions and for a good cause, that's one to put on your calendar. It's the same time of year every year. It's about middle of September.
Yep.
Mossy Oak starts advertising it well in the summer. So if you're in that West Point area, if you're interested in going to it, checking out some chefs cooking some wild game, even getting a golf team together and playing golf, man, it's a lot of fun for a couple of days.
Yeah. So while we were down there, I'm gonna tell this story real quick. So we get through with dinner or whatever it is, or I can't remember when this story got told. But anyways, a good friend of ours and Matthew Courtney, I'm gonna call you out on here.
You put his whole name.
Yeah,
got his address. You want me to throw that on there too?
Yeah, give me his phone number so they can call him. Anyways, Matthew gets telling the story, and man, I was dying. This guy was telling the story. What was he? 16, 17 years old, just started
something like that,
working and. Anyways, he was looking for a job, so he goes into Pizza Hut. So he goes into Pizza Hut and he tells him he's looking for a job. And they was like, yeah, okay, we'll hire you. And they hand him a pizza and tell him, here, take this to this address. So
When
he
did you
just
start?
Yeah. And he walks out. He just walks out, gets in the car, and goes to delivers it. Well, he comes back. He said, man, hell, they give me, a couple more pizzas that night to go deliver. He come back the next night. So he said he works there for a whole week. He's done delivered, he don't know how many pizzas. And he goes up to the manager or whatever and says, hey, when do I get paid? And they was like, do you work here? Who are you? They didn't have this dude on the payroll or nothing.
He was pro bono, just delivering pizzas.
They were just passing pizzas out, sending random folks out the door with pizzas to go deliver, and he got caught in it.
Do you think he was turning the money in? Like back then, it wasn't everybody paying with credit cards. I mean,
That's right. I guess.
Matthew's my age, so I was at Pizza Hut during those times. It was the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, and if you know Matthew, that story is probably told to the exact T. I cannot imagine that happening to anybody else but Matthew. So,
oh my God, he had me rolling with that. I can't imagine going up there looking for my paycheck and they want to know, who are you? You know, a young guy, you're just like, I've been delivering pizzas for 6 days for y'all.
They didn't give you a uniform, or he didn't get a T-shirt. He didn't get nothing.
He said he didn't get a sign to go on top of the car or nothing. And just hand him the pizza. Go take this here.
I don't even know if he had the hot bag.
Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Oh, that's bad, man. That's really bad.
Oh, we did go to the Mossy Oak store while we were there. That's their headquarters, and you went too.
Yeah.
But that's always a cool place if y'all never been to check it out in West Point. Isn't there something coming up you're going to be a part of, Mikey?
Yeah, so they're trying to put they're toying with the idea of putting together a chili contest right there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So
it hadn't been announced yet.
It hadn't been announced yet. I actually got to talk to them either this week or next week and try to help them get that organized and maybe they'll have it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They're kind of dabbling in a realm that they're not used to with the cooking part of it, so we're going to give them a hand.
Well, let's talk fall cool season food plots. That's what it should be on everybody's mind right now.
Yep. So I guess, first things first, I guess you got to kind of figure out what seeds are you going to plant on your property, and then there's a lot of different mixes. There's a lot of different things that you can put out there for yourself. The main thing is find what your deer like, because every deer in the country don't like the same thing. They prefer other grains over, certain things, and they prefer other mixes over certain things. So you need to find what works best in your area, for your deer and for the, growing purposes too, because not everything works good in every part of the country. We've seen that,
So for the South, what's on your mind for cool season plots for, say, our region? Because I think most people listening are probably in the South. What would you say is the most common thing planted for fall food plots, Colin?
Wheat, oat, and rye.
Cereal grains combination.
That's it. Now, that can be a multitude of different things, but the important thing to remember is you want a cereal ryegrass. You don't want to go off annual ryegrass. There's going to be a lot of pre-made mixes that have that in it. Definitely look for a cereal rye in all your stuff.
So why do they put, so if ryegrass isn't beneficial, it's not cheap. Ryegrass seed isn't cheap compared to the other cereal grains, right?
No.
Why do they put so much of it in these mixes? You say you go to Walmart or Academy or any of these other places and just pick up, when you look at them, the mixture's heavy ryegrass.
That's a good question, and I don't really know the answer to it, because if you look at the price of wheat compared to ryegrass, it makes so much more sense, whereas a lot of blends that we have at my company, it's heavier on the wheat.
Do you know the only thing I can come up with is why they do it is because that ryegrass will turn green.
There you go.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
Maybe that's it.
Looks good for a picture.
That's right. That's the only thing I could figure, is them putting that in there is it, it's an automatic visual for somebody, to see just green.
I spent $50. I got green. Basically.
Yeah, I got green, slick field out here that's just green, and it looks like something out of well, it looks like what they advertise, a green field.
Yeah.
But not all green fields are.
So why don't you want the ryegrass? Just no nutrients?
There's no nutrients. Ryegrass will spread like absolute crazy, and it's so hard to get out of a field once you get it established into a field. I'm still fighting ryegrass in one of my fields right now that I feel like I'm running in circles. It's just you can't get it out. And yes, on the nutrient part, there's so many other things you can add that are 10 times better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we've all bought that stuff that's, had that in it. Just hey, if that's all you got access to, that ain't all you got access to.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. Don't let nobody talk you into that. There's a lot of different things out there. You just need to read the back of it, like you'd read the back of anything else. You know, if you're gonna buy something for your kids to eat, you're gonna look at the nutrients facts on the back of it. You're gonna look and see what's in it. Same thing with the seed. Just turn it over and look on the back panel, and it's got it listed out percentages.
And I will say
what's
there's
in there.
probably some applications where it may be one of the better things you do have, like a logging road, for example.
Right, yeah,
I mean, you know, you're wanting the green to pop up quick, but you also need some erosion control.
that's right.
Yeah.
So your ryegrass may be a good option for something like that. But as far as deer nutrient pack, no.
Yeah. So we've all run into that, but we've kind of transitioned off of that, and we started out we do a heavy wheat, oat, either cereal rye. Sometimes we do cereal rye. Sometimes we don't do cereal rye. It just depends. But we usually mix in some kind of a crimson clover into that mix with it. And that's generally what we plant.
That's kind of your standard fall mix.
That's our standard fall mix. That gives you a good variety of cereal grain, but you also have that clover in there, which is helping your soil fixate nitrogen too. But the turkeys love it, you know, and it'll stay on through turkey season. So you have all of that there, you know, because the cereal grain, once it starts getting warm, it'll kind of start sprouting, and I mean not sprouting, but what do you call it, Colin? Legging out or
Yeah.
you know, start putting shoots on it. It'll start getting tall on you. And sometimes you may want to go in there and knock that down.
That was my next question. Is there a certain type of wheat that you want? Because wheat will grow just about as easy as anything. But is there a wheat that's more preferred for winter grazing, basically?
I like a forage wheat. It's an awnless, beardless wheat. It's shorter when it does sprout, as Mikey just mentioned. I like it because my turkeys tend to like it more, and
I have heard that they prefer.
that's kind of my game is turkey hunting. So
other than just say regular co-op wheat, like we plant a dove field, that wheat gets pretty tall.
Sure does, yeah.
And I would think, like, for the birds, you don't need that tall. You need the shorter stuff.
Yep.
And that's where the awnless or legless variety comes in, right?
Yep.
Does the same thing go for rye? And I mean, oats doesn't usually get that tall anyway.
No, and a lot of are you talking about comparison cereal to Gulf rye, like annual rye?
Yeah, well, we're always like that Elbon or winter.
The Elbon rye, and that needs to be what you look for.
Yeah.
And you can buy, if you just want to put Elbon rye out and you want a green field, you can buy a 50-pound bag of Elbon rye. So
I was trying to remember which one of the ryes we planted. The first year we planted, we tried that buffalo system or whatever. It was neck high. I mean, it was for like thatch. We also had oats in there with it too. So it was kind of
but the oats usually don't get that tall. They kind of brown up, but that rye can get
whatever that cereal rye was I bought.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And wheat can too. Wheat can get that tall if you don't buy that.
If you don't buy a forage awnless wheat, yeah.
But there's a bunch of different things out there for you to put in your mixes and to try. So, you know, once you figure that out, you kind of need to figure out your process from there. Like, how are you going to prep these fields?
So when's the best time to plant that fall plot? You know, you got something green to hunt over.
Man, there ain't no right answer.
Yeah.
You need to have it.
Is the outside temperature deciding factor? Are you looking at frost date?
I'm looking at it all. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, it's a stressful thing for me to sit there and try to watch the weather as far out as I can to catch rain. Not too much rain, because, you know, that's happened to us before too. You know, we went in, we powdered the field with that tiller, throwed that stuff out there, and we got gully washers for about 4 days, and we wound up replanting that freaking field because it just took every bit of seed with it. Because there was nothing there to hold the dirt in place, so it just took everything. So yeah, it's pretty stressful. If you don't have the time and you just got to do it, then you just got to do it when you can do it. But if you can sit there, you need to try to catch where the temperatures are dropping back down, like they are now. Back in the 80s, you got some 60-degree weather, so you got dew on the ground in the mornings, where your ground is getting some kind of moisture early in the mornings. Even if you don't have any rain, and your plots will sprout just off of dew residue or whatever you call it.
So do you have a time frame that you're thinking? Or because, I mean, there's not a way to give a hard date. Like, so you got to have everything in by October 1st. That ain't going to work.
No. It sucks for people that are trying to bow hunt over green plots because, in our area and specifically this year, if you planted a plot in what?
Labor Day, which was
Labor Day.
used to be a go
Labor
day.
Day.
Everybody used to do it on Labor Day.
It probably came up and it died.
Yeah.
If you were anywhere in our area, it probably came up, looked pretty for just a minute, and then it died.
And I think frost date's important, what you said. But then again, it could frost here one day, and then 2 weeks later, it's going to be 99 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard for me to look at a frost date.
That's what I was thinking. Just because we might get a frost that's in October doesn't mean we're going to have average cool temps in October.
No.
It can jump by Thanksgiving. It could be back up to nearly 80 degrees.
Right. Yeah. I think our area is I'm not going to say it's the hardest to plant in, but it's the hardest to predict weather in. Mississippi is, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard as hell to figure out when you're going to have temperatures right, when you're not going to, not hit a drought. I mean, we went through a drought. I've been through a drought in like November, like around Thanksgiving, where it was just dry. It ain't rained in a long time. So if you had, but thank God the temperatures were staying down enough to keep dew on the ground, and they were getting something where it was, it was trying to grow. But if that would have been on the flip side of that, we would have been in those 90-degree temperatures. Yeah. It'd have been gone.
This is rich coming from a seed salesman, of course, but always buy extra seed because you never know.
Is there a rule of thumb, like how much you should plant extra? Are you talking like 10%? Or are you talking about like as much as 50%? Not double, surely.
I think that depends a lot on your method too.
Yeah.
Are you drilling it in? Are you throwing and mowing? What are you doing? Yeah, I think that has a lot to do. Or if you're just broadcasting out and praying for the best. There's a couple different methods, so there's a couple different rates for every method, in my opinion. So,
and we're going to talk about methods here in a minute because Colin's got a method that he tried this year. But back to kind of talking about those dates is that's the biggest thing is what I am going to look for is not hard rains, but I've got rain in my forecast for the next 10 to 12 days, however far I can see out. May not be but a 10% chance, maybe a 50% chance one day, but I've got a steady chance of rain. So that lets me know that I've got, some kind of front coming in. I've got a chance of getting some kind of rain, because you're rolling the dice when you put that seed in the ground. But those temperatures have dropped down some like now to where we can start planting. If it was, I'm not going to, it's better to wait than it is to push it.
Yeah.
Because I've pushed it when we planted spring stuff before. I don't know how many different times I've planted watermelons over again or, tomato plants or something like that in the spring, trying to push it to get stuff in the ground. Wow, well, it's, 80 degrees,
Don't be scared to plant in November.
Right. That's right.
I mean, really. Yeah. If you have to, you have to.
If you have to, you have to, because, it don't take but a couple of weeks and that young stuff will start, showing it, up out of the ground. And them deer, when they see it, man, they're going to get on that young stuff pretty fast.
Absolutely.
That's always been why I've kind of like waiting a little bit, at least wait until those first acorns start dropping, because it'll pull the deer off the plots. Our cameras go dead.
Yeah.
There'll be a couple weeks where, man, you're like, man, all the deer bugged out of the whole county. Where are they? Well, it ain't that they left. It's that they started following those acres. And it looks like this year we got a pretty good acre mass.
Very healthy crop.
And that'll, what it'll amount to is if they pull off your plots and you get those seeds in the ground, it'll give you those 2 weeks to get germinated and let those plants get up enough to where they just ain't going to wipe it out. Because they're going to be on that young stuff, like you said. But if they're on the acorns, I think that's the number one thing they prefer.
That's a Reese's peanut butter cup to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't outplay an acre. I mean, you just can't.
You can have the most luscious green field you ever had. If you got acres around it,
not gonna matter.
Why would they even come out?
Would you eat the salad bar or you eat them oatmeal cream pie?
That's right. I'd be with the oatmeal cream pies.
That's what's hanging in them trees of the them oatmeal pie cream cookies. Oh, good night. Yeah, but you don't. Another thing is like we don't put all our eggs in one basket either. So when we go in and plant, we don't always plant. I don't plant everything at one time.
Yeah.
We'll plant something and I'll see that rain and me and Will will run out there and we'll get, like now, Will's down there now. He's getting some things prepped and getting stuff ready. He's got some fields prepped, ready to plant like right now. But we got it in stages. So now he's out there knocking stuff down. He's fixing to start, spraying out some of the weeds that are out there and then till everything under. So next week or this week, we'll probably run down there and put some seed in the ground on some of those plots. Not all of them.
Yeah.
We probably got 10 plots all together. So we'll plant 2.
So what are your dues to plant early? If you're if you know you're gonna plant something early, what are you planting early?
What am I planting early?
Yeah, for fall.
Seed wise?
Yeah.
Like
brassicas, are they going in first? Or?
Now, yes. Now, some of your brassicas, yes. Like we've planted purple top turnips when it was just
September. Labor Day.
It was hot.
That was always our turnip time. Was Labor Day. We dove hunt and then we get turnip seeds in the ground.
Yep. So yeah, if you're gonna plant, I guess if you was gonna plant something, purple top turnips have done well, even when it was, there was a drought there. They do need some kind of water, so you need to watch those temperatures, like I was talking about, where you getting dew in the mornings, because they're a plant, so if they ain't got no water, they ain't gonna make it. But yes, I mean you can plant those brassicas. That the bad thing about the cereal grains is if you plant them and they're young and you go into a drought really fast, or you get a 2-week drought there where there's no freaking rain, man, it depends on how high that temperature gets, but you probably gonna be replanting.
Is there some stuff you shouldn't plant with the grains? Like, would you mix brassicas and grains? I know the grains and clover do great.
So, and I'll let Colin talk about this too, but I'm not saying no. Having brassicas in a mix is fine, but don't expect it to look like, I guess, I was trying to think of a company Mossy Oak has those New Zealand, turnips or whatever, where they show that, on the front of the bag, it's big leafy green. They are not going to do that in your mix, because those cereal grains are going to choke them out. But they will be in there. They will put on leaves, and deer love them when they're young like that, and they will nip them off. But, they'll pretty much hit. A lot of times when we planted those mixes that had them in there, they got them first. They went through and got those first, or any kind of little winter pea or something, any kind of pea or brassica that was in there, they usually got them pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. It's important to remember too, if you're drilling especially,
a
lot of these seeds can't be planted at the same depth. That's something everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to go in and plant it all this depth. Well,
doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work. You look at your pinky nail, a clover only needs to be about half as deep as your pinky nail is. And everybody's like, well, I'll just throw it in there with the wheat and everything. You can do that. Don't get me wrong. But if you do them separate, in my opinion, you're going to get a little better germ out of it.
From the way we did it, and I think the first year we got seeds from it, we had this big mix that we come up wanted, and we wanted turnips, we wanted daikon radish, we wanted all the grains, we wanted some kind of air leaf or berseem, and we were putting all this stuff in there, and we were going to drill it. And it didn't do exactly. I mean, I think you spend more money on buying into, trying to buy this mix that's got a little bit of all of it, instead of isolating your plots and maybe running grains in one field, brassicas in another, giving them variety, but it don't have to be in the same field.
Yeah. That's what I've always told Mikey whenever it's getting close to seed season, and he knows this, and I don't have to tell him this, but always add a little extra seed to your pre-mixes already. So if you want crimson clover, Ladino clover or something in it, don't be scared to mix that in your hopper and drill it like that. I mean,
we're getting into talking about, process procedures on plant stuff, but, equipment, having like a piece of equipment like we have a food plot seeder is what we have. So it has a row of disc in the front. It will break ground. And then it has a big hopper box for your bigger seeds. So that's where your wheat, that's where your, some of your other stuff goes. If you're wanting to really, cut the ground and plant it, in this way, and then we have a small seed hopper in the back where that seed falls out right in front of the cultipacker. So all it does is just mash it in the ground. You know what I mean? So it falls out in a different area. The other seed falls out way up in front up here, where right behind the discs, where when it goes under, we have that drive wheel. It gets turned in, it gets flattened out, it gets smashed down up under there pretty far, and then the cultipacker, the smaller seed, drops right in front of the cultipacker, where it just kind of mashes it down in the ground. So that's where we generally put our turnip seed, or our clover seed is back there. Now I have mixed it, and we've got a video where I am mixing clover in. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You just got to be careful about how deep you're planting it. And I'm not planting it deep. Most of the time I'm just setting that thing, we've already tilled the field or plowed the field. disc it, whatever you want to call it. And generally, I'm just setting that planter down where it's turning and the cultipacker just pushing it in the ground. It's not getting planted real deep.
Well, let's talk about some of the equipment that you need or that we use, because there's different ways to go about this. You don't have to have big equipment. Colin, that's kind of something you're working on this year, and we'll talk about that too. But Mikey, do you want to talk a little bit about the different types of the way you can prep up one? That way people can know if they don't have use the equipment they have.
Yeah, so I mean, you got conventional ways of putting in food plots, which is just like I was just talking about. You go out there, you go with a disc or a tiller or something like that. You break up the ground, get it down to dirt, come back in. You can go through. We have a food plot seeder, and they have, what do they call, Colin? There's another brand. We got Woods, but there's another one where it does kind of every fermentators and things like that, and you can run those over them and plant your seed in that way. You can also come back in. We've done it this way too, just with a hand sower or one of the little seed spreaders that goes on the back of a side-by-side or a four-wheeler or something like that.
Cosmo, if you got a...
Yep. If you got a small tractor, you can get a Cosmo and put it back there and fill that up, and you can just scatter it over the top of the ground. Now, when you do that, you either need to come back and either just run the disc over it real light, or you can just take a piece of fence or something to drag. You remember we took old cattle gate.
Yep, cattle gate.
I still do it, so I get it. Yeah,
that cattle gate
was always
worked good.
The easiest way
it
for
works.
us. We heavy disc. We broke the clods up because you don't want those big giant clods. Just a deep heavy disc don't do it. You need to go back over it one more time, get that bed right. Then you can broadcast whatever you want. Now that's where it comes in. You're going to spend more money on seed.
Yep.
Because you got to overseed if you're just broadcasting, and then you got to redrag it. So you're making a bunch of passes on that field to do it that way, but that's how we used to always do it.
Yeah,
we didn't have the seeder.
If you're using that method, you do need to overseed because you've got birds that's going to come out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a lot of turkeys,
they're coming. Turkey
will eat a bunch of seed before it sprouts. They might near eat a whole 2-acre field if you ain't, depending on how big your flock is. But yes, you need to, or a little cultipacker of some type, if you cultipacker it's got a heavy wheel or whatever, just something to pack it down in the ground and push it down in the ground. Any of that way works. And that's what we've always done. When you bought that first farm, all we had was a smaller tractor, like a 35 horse tractor.
And a little disc.
And a small disc, and it was just getting broke like that, and we were sewing it with that Cosmo or the side-by-side, and we had the boys out there, and they were on the side-by-side, and they had the fence. We'd tell them here because they wanted to drive and just let them drag the field, and then we'd throw the seed on and then drag it again.
Yep.
And we just kind of got everybody involved, but you can get it in like that, and it helps when you do have other people down there helping you. But, then you can kind of more advanced is like the wood seeder that we have or the fermentator like he's talking about.
Or I can drill a real drill.
Yeah, seed drill. But the all-in-ones that I'm talking about, like that wood seeder we have, I can take that thing. I've done this several times where the weeds were freaking chest high, to knee high out there in a field. I didn't break it. I didn't till it. I didn't do nothing to it. I just put that seed in that box. I dropped them front disc down where it would break that ground a little bit, and I just rode over the field and smashed all that stuff down and had just a pretty plot as I tilled that field.
So, Colin, that's kind of going into not the same, but a little similar to what your technique was.
Pretty close.
And I would say this is probably the cheapest way to do one.
Absolutely.
Tell them a little bit about what you're talking.
So I did the throw and mow or throw and grow method, however you want to call it. It's not a new method. I didn't invent it by any means. But it's simply, I used the forage wheat we were talking about. And I went in with about 150 pounds an acre, and I did about 2.5 acres. I broadcasted my seed. I threw triple 13 fertilizer on top of it, and I came through with a bush hog, and I just clipped it down about 4 inches above it. That's all. That's it. I mean, that's all I did. Created a thatch layer on top of that seed to protect it, because Mikey just said we have turkey galore up here.
Yeah.
And turkeys are still out there, which I'm not necessarily mad about, but they're still, I mean, you can go out there right now and see where thatch is dug up, where they're still trying to get into it.
So the idea for both of those methods, whether you just basically, it's not really crimping, it's laying it down on top of it.
Yeah.
You're still keeping like some green matter, I don't know, they call it green manure or whatever. You're keeping that plant matter on top of your seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trapping some of the moisture that's in that plant.
Yep.
And then it's just giving it a little safer environment. You're not coming back and just burying the seed. It's just sitting on top of the ground, but it's got that thatch over it. So that's promoting a place for that seed to germinate and to get up without having to do too much.
Yeah.
You're not using any chemical. You're not passing over it too many times. You're not worried about the best seed bed you can make. It's not, so I guess that would really be the most economical way to do it.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, and if I could do every one of our fields like that, that's what I would do. I mean, I would just park the disc after spring, but with us having some summertime plots that are still out there that are thriving right now, and they're going to thrive all the way through November. I have to try to terminate that plant out because I've tested it, and I'm talking about vetch. So I've got vetch right now that's anywhere from ankle to knee high, and it's thick, it's lush,
it's like a carpet.
Yes, and I've planted into that stuff before, and I probably planted it too early before it, frost killed it. Frost will kill it.
Yeah,
but I've planted it, just to see if I could leave it. At the same time, I left about a 20-yard not 20 yards, probably about 30 feet on the side of the field, where I left that vetch and didn't till it, didn't terminate it, kill it and till it. And I planted the whole field the same way. Put that wood cedar out there. I planted, into the tilled soil, and then I came back and planted right into that vetch. And I said, I'm just testing this to see if it'll work or not. And it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, do you think that's where an actual crimper would come in? That would actually break the plant?
I don't know if it'll.
I don't know
if it'll do vetch, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
That stuff is very, I don't know the word for it. It is very tangly like kudzu.
Yeah.
There's a native plant that's called a partridge pea as well, and it's the same concept. You can go over the top and crimp it, but you're wasting diesel in my opinion.
Really?
I mean, and I think vetch is in the same boat as that.
I think a lot of that has to do with the climate though.
Yeah.
Because the growing season for vetch is way long. Well, you got to think, we put those seeds in the ground in late April, mid-April, and if we get a frost, that doesn't mean it's going to kill it in October. You may have green vetch still in November.
Yeah.
And sometimes into December. Last year we had some into December.
Yeah.
You get a mild winter, I mean, you still got it. So there's no.
Well, the frost is only going to kill what it touches.
Yeah, that's right. You got all that.
So if it's thick, it's going to kill the top part of it, but it may not kill, some of the other ones that are up under it that it didn't get down to. And as it gets warm again, how our Mississippi weather is, it's like be 30 degrees this week and 80 tomorrow, and it'll just take back off again. As soon as it gets warm, starts hitting that sunlight,
it'll just regen. Yeah.
Yep. So there's. That method works good with your annual weeds, Johnson grass and goat weed and different things like that. If you had that in your field, you can just go through there and run that seeder or do like Colin's talking about doing. But like with vetch, if you throw that seed down, it's just kind of exposed there on the ground up under the vetch. Of course, turkeys are already in there eating it. They start pecking around like, ooh, what is this?
So all these seeds that we're talking about are annuals. We're talking about fall plots only that are going to terminate out in the spring, and it leaves you a place to come back and plant summer plots too, so you can have some year-round food for these animals. What if we wanted to do some plots that were going to turn into perennial plots, and we were going to try to maintain them? Because that's another great way for someone that's kind of on a budget, or they want to get some some stretch out of the seeds, or maybe they bought the ladino or they bought some of the Durana clover. They want something that's going to last 5 to 7 years at times if you take care of it. Talk a little bit about what you can do to create an annual plot to save you some money and keep maintaining a plot over time.
We have those now. We keep those plots like you're talking about now. They are cool season plots because they thrive in the spring and then in the fall. Summertime, they usually try to go dormant. Some of them will go completely dormant, and you just look like the field got burned. Or,
like right now.
Like you sprayed it with Roundup, yeah. And then some places that are a little more shady, lower lying, where it's getting a lot of, moisture, there'll still be, I'm talking about clover here. And we've planted a bunch of different mixes of clover, and we've planted just one kind of clover before, and they all do pretty good. Just the ones that you have I guess the ones that are not in like a mix, they'll come up and they'll thrive at a certain time, and then they'll just kind of start receding back. And when you had, because some of the clovers, I guess I don't know what you would call it, their prime dates where they're really, thick and lush and stuff like that. Some of those vary from, month to month, or, maybe a couple of weeks apart or something like that. So that's why a lot of people plant those mixes too.
So the idea is you're going to put in, say, some kind of red clover, some kind of white clover, some kind of berseem, and it's going to mature at different times. So you have different height clover throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you may look at it and think, well, that's all the same, and a lot of times, unless it blooms, you don't really. Yeah. It's hard to tell the difference unless you just really walk up in there and inspect it. But yes, so clover.
So what's the steps for doing clover plots that you're going to keep maintaining over years?
When we do a clover plot, we take a lot of extra steps to do this. And there's probably a different method that's easier, but when you buy clover, it can be expensive. It is expensive. Mm-hmm. And if you buy a mix that's got 3 or 4 different ones in it, it can. We paid last year $300 for a bag.
That was
a 50-pound bag or 40-pound bag, but it was like $300 for this thing. Now it planted,
and there's a premium clover too.
It was a premium clover. It was a premium clover. So I knew that I was like, I'm not just walking out there and sowing this over, a weed field and hoping it comes up. We're fixing to make a seed bed.
Yeah, don't throw a mow a $300 bag.
No, you want to test that? You test it with something a little cheaper.
Are you nurse cropping it?
Yeah,
you planting something with it?
Yes, the first time you plant it, and I usually put weed in there with it. But you got to make sure you don't have, you're just putting a little bit of weed in there with it, or like Colin was saying, you plant that wheat down first and then come back and you either hand sow that clover. What we did was we planted the wheat in probably at about 25 pounds per acre, which is, so you plant a whole 2 acres with a bag. Mm-hmm. We went in and put that down first with the seeder, and then I came back with a hand sower, because I didn't trust putting it in that seeder and it falling out to, something going wrong. I put it in
such a small seed.
It is small, man. I'm talking about it's like birdshot. So I put it in where I can actually visually see it coming out of the thrower, and I walked that whole thing and made sure I, was throwing it. I was precise on those measurements, putting that clover in there.
So, Colin, is it worth spending the money and buying a high dollar perennial clover, or can you just go to, say, Tri-County or your local co-op and say, I just want some white clover?
If you have the methods to plant a high dollar clover, yes, absolutely. Back to what we were saying, I definitely would not throw a mow a Durana clover or the mossy oak clover. That's a premium clover. If you're wanting like a coated crimson clover or something, yeah, you can do that. You're not talking a whole lot of money for a 50-pound bag. You could get away with that. But definitely be mindful how much money you're spending on clover and your method to use it.
So what do you think about the process? Let's say you've got your nurse crop in the ground, you got your clover seed on top of it. That hunting season, you're going to see the wheat.
You're going to see the wheat. And I skipped a step there. I usually come back with that cultipacker on that seeder or whatever and run it over that seed after I have sown it.
All of it?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah, I usually run the cultipacker just to pack get the seed pushed down in the dirt a little bit, where it's making good contact on that.
That's going to improve germination, I'm guessing?
Yes.
So are you inoculate? Well, I guess if you buy that high dollar stuff, a lot of times it's inoculated already, right?
Yeah, we don't inoculate anything. If it don't come like that, we ain't doing it.
Is there an advantage to it, Colin?
I will say yes, but is there technically? That's one of those, you're going to have people say absolutely. You're going to have people say, no, we've never inoculated before. So,
yeah, most of our stuff, we're not inoculating any of it.
I can honestly say I've never inoculated in my life.
Unless it came that way?
Yeah.
You'll know it'll be colored.
Yeah. You'll know pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Mm. But what you were saying, yes, the wheat starts kind of coming up, and some of your, if there's a crimson blend in that wheat or in that mix, which generally there is, one that kind of jumps up kind of quick.
See, that's just an annual, right? It's not a perennial.
It is an annual, but you can utilize it like a perennial.
There's some gray area.
There's a technique there, yes. Yeah, right. And when that's with any plant, really, this annual. But yes, so the wheat will start coming up. You'll see some little, clover leaves coming up in that stuff, and then usually by I don't know. I mean, like that mossy oak clover that we planted in that one field, it started showing itself pretty fast. I had clover in that field when we started deer hunting. And we planted it in, towards the end of October, and by Thanksgiving we had, or Thanksgiving a little after, right into the 1st of December, we already had clover in that field.
Was that a mix though? It wasn't just one species.
No, it was a mix. Yeah, it was a mix.
You're going to see the early stuff, and then
And I think it's important what you said about kind of planting your nurse crop with your clover. I've had a lot of questions about. I've gone down the rabbit hole of TikTok here recently. I had a lot of questions about why I'm planting clover like at a later date and not putting it all together. So I planted my wheat on a different little area. I planted maybe 75 pounds of wheat. I'm not planting my clover right now. I'm letting my wheat get up, and then I'm going to come back and just broadcast it with a hand seeder. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to knock that wheat down on top of that clover, because everybody thinks I'm crazy, but we literally have such a high turkey population up here. You cannot get away with doing that. So I'm going to push all that wheat down on top of that clover. So
when it matures?
When it matures.
Okay. So it's going to spring.
Yeah. So it's going to help me form a thatch layer on top of that.
Gotcha. So, and is that the steps that you prefer, Mike? Do you bush hog it, or you just lay it down, or what do you do over there?
So like with ours, usually I plant ours, whatever I'm planting with ours, I usually put it in with the nurse crop.
Yeah.
Because we planted that Ladano clover, and we planted red together, or not red, crimson. I'm sorry. There is a difference, but, and I didn't know that until like a couple of years ago. It was all red to me. But, anyways,
highway clover. It's all highway clover.
It's red to a lot of people. Trust me.
Yeah. So we usually buy crimson clover, and we put it in with one of our breeds of white, which is going to sustain through the, early spring, late spring into the early summer. And, it's going to come back the next year if it goes away. A lot of times, a lot of them don't. But so when I put those in, once you come to springtime, I want to get that, like Colin's cutting his and then seeding. Ours is already there. The white may not be completely up yet. It may still be kind of laying there, or it may just be up barely. What I'll do is I'll come back in, and you can either cut the wheat, or we'll come through, because we've kind of gotten some of those spring grasses have kind of gotten in there, because, I disturbed the soil. So it's trying to get in there, and I'll run clethodim over the top of it.
Which is clover safe.
Yes. You can spray it now. It's going to kill that wheat.
Yeah.
It's killing the wheat.
But that's okay. You got what you needed.
Yeah. You got what you needed out of it. It did its job. It kind of protected it from getting, eaten, or, it just provided a safe place for it to get nourishment and to sit there without being eaten, more or less. Kind of took the focus off the clover, put it on the, the wheat that's there. But we'll come back in, we'll spray it with clethodim. We'll fertilize it right after we spray it, or at the same time, either one. Spray it, and then we'll re-fertilize it with a low nitrogen or zero nitrogen fertilizer over that clover. And you can do that twice a year. You can come back in and spray it with clethodim again. Mow it. Yeah, you don't have to spray. You can take your lawnmower out there and cut a clover plot. You just need to run the deck up where you're not. I wouldn't cut the clover too short.
So that's what I've always had the question. It's like, man, how low do I need to cut this clover? Because I want it, but you don't want it stemmy. You want it to put on as much mass as it can, but you don't want to cut it too low. So what is the perfect height, or what would you say?
Well, I don't know if there's a right answer.
You just have to look at it.
I know.
You just have to look at it and make a judgment call.
Now, we went years where I didn't cut our clover.
Yep,
I've ran through and cut the weeds, the tops off the weeds. If there was a broadleaf that came up, a milkweed or something come up in my goat weed started popping up out there, I would go in and just raise that bush hog up where I wasn't even hardly touching the clover at all, if I was touching it, and just mow right over the top of it and knock that crap out of it and not even mess with it. And it's thrived like that. And then there's been years where I've cut it twice, sprayed it, twice, sprayed it twice, fertilized it twice. And the results were, I swear to God, it's going to depend on the weather and what you're dealing with at that time, but they both have worked.
So now this is going to be one that's controversial to me, because it always makes me want to start over. What do you do when you get to late July, early August? Your clover plots are trash. you've got all this ground cover coming up because something's coming up to cover the ground once it dies. I don't know what it is, but we've got plots like that now where they're hilltops or they're high sun areas where the clover just gets blistered. You knew you had good white clover, pretty clover in there all spring. Turkeys loved it, and now it's dirt and weeds. Do you give up and start over? Or
No.
What do you do?
That's the hardest part. Be patient and don't look at it.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part. Because that's going to regerm. I mean, you're going to get a better plot coming into that next year. So that time of the year, I run cameras all year long. I take my cameras off because I'm like, I don't want to see it.
Don't look at
it.
them.
I don't want to look at it because
So
it looks bad. It does.
Do you worry about trying to spray those weeds and keep it dirt? Do you throw them out more fertilizer? Do you
At that like right now? So right now we're in that stage right now. Me and Will walk clover plots today. Well, I'm starting to see small clover.
as we get moisture?
As we get moisture, I see it's coming back out of the ground where it was just a crunchy field with, full of goat weed and thistle and, whatever else. So what I had him doing today was just go in and mow it as low as you can drop that bush hog, get it down. Because there ain't no clover out there. I mean, it's there, but it ain't, the bush hog ain't going to touch it. And just mow it down and get those weeds off of the field. Plus, we laid, like Colin's talking about, we laid a thatch over the top of it, some dead stuff, so it's going to retain moisture under that, under some of those weeds and stuff that you laid down on top of. So now it's still got enough. It's not so thick that it's not going to get sunlight. So what I'm going to do is wait. I'm just going to go out there and check it like Colin was saying. Don't go out there every week.
No,
Look at it because it may not bounce right back, It may take it a little while, but I guarantee you by November, end of November or something like that, it will be back to a pretty clover field. But I've got to fertilize it. I got to keep any competing weeds that are still trying to grow. I'll get them out of it, or either get it. You can spray it now if you wanted to. It ain't gonna hurt nothing, but those weeds are gonna die
as soon as it frosts.
So I mean, you can spray them and go ahead and get it cleaned out. But in another month or so, we should have I'll say a month. Usually we have a frost close to Halloween.
Yeah.
And that's usually a light frost. So once that stuff kind of hits those weeds, it's going to kill them anyway. So if you're looking at budget minded, I would just cut it.
Yeah.
The persimmons I'm seeing are saying shovel this year, boy.
Absolutely.
Maybe that means we're going to get some cold weather. Yep. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So is there a preferred plot? Do you like just the grains and terminating them and not messing with the clover? Or do you like a mix, or what are y'all's thoughts on that? What would you suggest for somebody that's trying to start a program?
If you're starting Colin may have a different opinion. I don't know, but if I was doing this and I didn't have the time, the one thing about me is I have time and I have a helper with me, my son. So when I'm doing stuff, either I can send him down there to check on things or do something, but the normal everyday blue collar guy has not got the time that I have to go down there and do that. So if you just only have a weekend here and there, or an afternoon to go do something, planting clover is good, and it would be beneficial to you because you don't have to come back and do it again next year. You just have to make sure you need to get some fertilizer on it. You do need to get fertilizer on it. You don't have to spray it. You just cut it, cut the weeds out of it. You don't have to spray it. It's a little expensive on the front end, but it's not hard to maintain. It's not, even if you got weeds in the field, the freaking deer are going to find the clover anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see them out there, their head stuck down in the weeds.
They're
eating the clover.
Perfect.
No. You don't need it like heavily infiltrated where it can't get no light, or no nutrients. But that would just be something you have to look at and see if, at that point that you need to spray something. But if I'm doing a mix, I'm still going to put clover, a crimson clover, a grain mix, kind of like we got from Colin. Colin them sell a 3-way and a 7-way. And you can put some of those in and they will make it, some of that stuff will make it plumb through the summer if you just leave it and let it go and don't mess with it. I mean, you'll still have, wheat and oats and, some red clover still sustaining up under that grain there. And once it kind of goes, dies out, the clover's going to last for a little while, until it just gets blistered bad and we get into some drought, get into a drought or something like that, or them high temperature days where the heat index is well over 100. It's going to start trying to get, go back in the ground, or it's going to die. Crimson is. But
what's your take on that, Colin?
I would echo everything Mikey said. I would definitely stress the fact that clover is not a throw it out and just forget about it and hope you come back in 2 years and you have a good clover plot, because you're not. If you don't have the time, like Mikey said, man, wheat oat rye all day. It's going to be your easiest option. If you have the time and you have the help and you have the equipment, and you don't need a whole lot of equipment, and you can get out there and spray cluster them and knock some of the weeds out, then sure, absolutely, clover would be a good option.
Now, we didn't touch on this, but I'm going to ask you, how important is your soil test?
Yeah, pretty damn important.
What do you think? I mean, what can you tell people about, should you take the time, and it ain't like it's a big investment. Soil tests are cheap.
Yeah. I mean, you can pay up to $10 a piece for them to $12 a piece.
Yeah.
So if you pull 4 samples, send 4 samples in on one field, that's $40 a field. Just, yes, if you're going to try to start doing year-round plots, not just kill plots, so let's make sure we separate that. If you're just going down there to kill deer over a green food plot, you can scratch everything I said. Just go get some seed from the Tri-County, that 3-way or that 7-way.
Throw it out there.
Throw it out there and
it
shoot deer on it. If you're looking to better your property and to, feed deer year round, make sure your turkeys are fed, make sure your deer are healthy, you have to make sure your ground's healthy to sustain what you're doing to it, because you're putting a lot of different things in there and it's pulling nutrients every day out of that ground. So you have to put something back and make sure that, your pH level's correct so that stuff is working the way it's supposed to. Not only that, but the chemicals, when you come back and spray them, all that kind of ties into your pH.
And, it's going to make it cheaper for you. You're going to spend more money on seed and chemicals and fertilizer because it's not going to do its job if your pH isn't right.
Yeah. Lime, I say lime, agriculture lime, which is the powdered form of lime that you can get. Can you get that bagged?
Pelletized.
You can get it pelletized.
Yeah, you get a pelletized. When pelletized lime is a little more, it's a good bit more expensive.
Slight bit more expensive, yeah.
Liquid and pelletized lime are a good bit more expensive. Don't get those mixed up. You can get a load of lime dumped. Now that is expensive if you don't have a lot of property.
It goes so far.
Yeah, but if you and some buddies and neighbors or something like that, y'all all have like a hunting club there, and you're like, all right, look, we're gonna buy a truckload of lime. Y'all come over and get your, 500 pounds in buckets or however you want to get it and take it to your food plots. You can do that. So
some of the co-ops have buggies you can rent.
They do.
They'll loan you.
They do. And sometimes they have lime
Trucks,
there.
yeah.
A lot of times they don't.
And I want to say your local, like NRCS, I want to say they sometimes have.
Will they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they even have drills sometimes you can
They do.
get out.
They do.
Yeah, so
I know.
Soil and water conservation, I know they have it.
So there's plenty of options. You just got to do some homework on it.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can do some of these methods we got. You can go to you're not supposed to take it out of that county. So if you live in, like us, we live in Hernandez, so DeSoto County Soil and Water Conservation, they got 2 drills.
They would frown
sitting down there on 51.
Colin.
So if we jumped on them and brought them down here, if they seen DeSoto County on the side of it down here in Tate County, we'd probably get in trouble. Probably never get it
Don't
back.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't recommend that one.
Yeah. No. But some of those places do have it. You can rent those things from them. And the same way with the co-op, you can rent a lime buggy. If they have lime there, then you got it licked in. You just rent the lime buggy for $200 a day or something like. I think that's about right. $250 a day. And some of them may charge you how much you throw out. I can't remember. But you can rent that, get the lime, take it to your food plots, throw it down. It's not going to affect it this year.
When should you do that?
We generally do ours in late January or February after deer season's gone, because it is the ground is still, I guess, Lord, I ain't no freaking scientist or nothing like that. It will take in moisture at that time.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it now because the ground's so freaking hard. Every bit of rain we've got, that lime's laying on top of it. If you don't incorporate it into the soil, it's going down the ditch.
Yeah.
January time, the soil's very susceptible.
There you go. Susceptible. Colin went
to amending.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
That Delta State education.
Right.
You're spreading that lime on top, and you're hoping that it melts in and the ground soaks it up. It uses what it needs. It gets the pH right. It's going to make things grow better.
Yep.
Fertilizer's going to work better. Your seeds are going to do better.
Yep. So everything, if you can get that pH up, and it's not going to happen, if it's bad, it's not going to happen the first year. You're going to have to do this multiple years.
It's very rare that we pull a test where we don't need lime. Very rare in Mississippi.
Yeah.
We just have a little more acidic soil.
Yep.
The closer you can get it to what 7 is what you want. I mean, ours probably runs. If we're in the 6s, we're doing good. A lot of times,
if you can stay below 7 in that mid 6 range up to 7, that's where you want to be at. If you go way over 7, now you got an alkalinic soil.
Yeah,
then you're going the other direction. Yeah. You need to come back this way. Now you got to throw something else down to neutralize that.
So we had never run into that problem.
Yeah, so the best thing to do is kind of stay down, right around that range. We do have 1 or 2 fields we don't have to do nothing to, but we probably will this year. Yeah. We didn't last year. They were in that mid 6 range, and I may go pull a test, this year, and it may be down, at that 6 range or 5.8, 5.9 range. I'm gonna have to go in there and throw, however much. Well, that's what the soil test is gonna do. It's the ones we get tell you everything. It tells you how much lime per acre to put down, how much fertilizer per acre to put down. Only thing you have to tell them is what you plan on putting in there. So they'll give you a readout and take all the work out of it for you. But that's what you're paying for. You're not just paying to get the pH number back. You're getting a lot of stuff back when you get a soil sample, especially from a private company.
It's so much information I don't understand it.
A soil test every other year will save you a lot of headache.
Yep.
It really will.
And it ain't, is it the end of the world if you don't do it and you just go out there, you got the time to, throw and mow? No. Just doing something's going to help.
Yeah.
You're just going to maximize the money and the time you put into it by knowing you've got the soil right before you start.
Yeah. I don't know if I would if I was just doing kill plots and just had a place that I was just deer hunting and just shooting deer off of them, wanting to put a green plot in, I probably never.
Well, odds are in that case you're putting weed oat rye, as we discussed.
Right.
It's going to grow.
Just some grain that's going to
grow. It's going to grow.
Yeah. You're not trying to harvest. The main thing is these soil tests and things like that. We're not harvesting that crop. We're not growing it for a cash crop. We're just trying to make sure we keep our soil healthy enough to where it'll sustain, the plants that we're putting in it, because we're constantly rotating crops.
Yeah, y'all got some corn that looks better than any other cash crop I've ever seen. So.
It's pretty good.
The soil pH in that field's not that great.
Hey, look at that.
It is over on the one property because those were ag fields, and that's where you typically find it. If we bought this land from a farmer and he had been farming it, so if you're raising beans and corn on it, it's going to be a little better.
Yeah.
Because he's probably been amending it the whole time he's been.
Absolutely.
But when we took over these other fields, they were just pasture. And you will fight getting pasture back to the right. It's to me, it's harder than anything to get right. So many grasses and so much stuff in there that's just competing to grow something on. Whether you could just, if you took out some woods and turn that up, you can grow right into that.
Yeah.
If you can prescribe fire your pastures for 3 years in a row, you're going to be very happy.
I think we're on our second on ours.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be the third coming up.
But that kind of, that's cool season plots in a nutshell. Very broad. We can get real deep on.
Yeah, we can get deep. The main thing is just, do what suits you and your property. If you're not into doing year round stuff and you just want to go out there and have a good time and shoot some deer, you don't have to do all this. You can go out there, break that ground, throw down one of these seed mixes and, throw a little fertilizer on it, and you're ready to rock and roll for the season. Have a good time. We get into it a little bit more deeper than that, and this is if you want to get into it deep, it costs money and it takes a lot of time. So so we're just trying to educate everybody on every aspect of it, I guess. But we got some videos coming out if y'all want to check those out. Well, we got one. Yours already dropped. We had a black and dove.
Yeah. Drop. Well, they burning me up.
They burned you up on that black and dove, didn't they?
That burnt the crap out of it. It was blackened. Blackened. That's the first time I ever cooked that oyster pan. I ain't gonna say it didn't get a little hot. It was still edible.
They look good.
Yeah. I would back the fire down a little bit next time. I ain't gonna lie.
They taste good.
I wouldn't build near big a fire. It don't take that much to get that cast iron hot. You think a guy that cooks a lot no, but I still screw up every once in a while. But it tasted good and it did blacken it. So
I wouldn't trust nobody that didn't show themselves messing up every now and then. Because ain't nobody.
That was in bacon grease, right?
Yeah,
it's hard to be bad in bacon.
Yeah, it tasted fine. Yeah. And then by the time I melted some butter and threw some garlic Worcestershire and brushed it over it, shoot.
Oh,
it was good. Mike did a dirty rice that day. That ain't come out yet, but it'll be coming out. And you got some more stuff coming too.
Yeah, so we got a property design video that's coming out where we utilize the Caterpillar forestry mulcher and the skid steer, and you had bought a new piece of property. Anyways, I'm not going to tell too much. You can watch the video and see what we did. But we had an overgrown piece of property we couldn't even hardly access. Only one little road in and out of there, and there was a lot more property to try to get on and utilize. And we got a video of
Man,
us.
it's changed that property too.
Yep.
When I first bought it, I was like, man, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be hard to hunt. It's so overgrown. It's amazing when you go in there with some machinery and you cut you some trails and you open some spots up and you find your hardwood trees,
Yep.
what it does to a property.
Yeah.
That's
We
going
rode
to be
that.
a jam up spot.
We rode that property when you first got it, and I was
Do
like,
you remember? Yeah.
scratching my head. I was like,
Why would he
I
buy
don't
this?
know how this is going to work,
Yeah,
but here we go.
What are you going to do? You got too much kudzu.
Yeah.
You're overgrown. It's just a thicket. And now look at it.
But we
There's
did a
gonna
lot.
be- there's
We did
gonna
a
be
lot
a-
of work on that property. It was a lot of days, a lot of hours in the seat, and a lot of hours out of the seat.
Mhm.
You know, just cutting stuff by hand and moving stuff around. It was
A lot
too
of
big for
ticks
that.
pulling off of you.
Yeah, and I don't know how I ain't got alpha gal. I don't know how. Man, I've got to pull some more ticks off me
Get
this
them off
year than
quick.
any
Everything
time.
I've seen is you don't want them to stay on you over 24 hours. That's when you're going to get it. If you get them off of you within that, if you can get them off as soon as you find them, you're better. But if you let them stay on you, that's
Yeah.
where you're going to start getting Lyme disease.
Usually I don't know they're on there until I wake up.
Till they
you know,
swell up
and
full of
about
blood.
2:00 in the morning, around my waistline gets itchy, or the back of my crease in the back of my leg gets itchy, or something like that, and I got to get up, go in there, dadgum, and I got one on me. I don't know how they don't come off when you wash off in the shower, man.
Yeah.
They don't.
Permethrin.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to grow a third leg with it or not, but it keeps the ticks off of me.
We'll worry about that later.
We'll worry about that later. Yeah.
But yeah, we also got one more video coming out. Mark did Trinellis Estate. And
Oh, yeah.
that one should be coming out this, by the time this releases. So y'all check those videos out. They should be on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. If there's any questions y'all have, y'all check us out.
Yeah. If you got any questions for Colin, you're on social, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. It's under Colin McKendry on everything, and then Colin MCK on TikTok. I'm not TikTok literate, so don't.
I want to see some more of them throwing mo videos. You done put one out.
See what happens.
If you can show
We'll
us
see what
how it
happens.
goes throughout the season, that'll be pretty interesting.
We may run out there and do a little video.
Yeah. But, yeah, anything else, Mikey?
No, that's about it. Y'all keep checking out the Facebook page, Buck Junkie Outdoor Club. We should be running some contests here shortly. Thinking about doing us kind of the same thing we did last year, sending some of your buck pictures or deer pictures or any kind of trail cam pictures. And we got some stuff we're probably going to give away.
Let's see them target bucks.
Yeah.
You got any target? The velvet's starting to come off in our places. Our pictures are showing them bucks are dropping and they starting to sharpen them horns.
If you don't want nobody to know who you are, get your wife or cousin or somebody to drop
You don't have to.
there.
We ain't asking for a pin on Onyx. We don't want to know what county you're in. We don't want to know. Just send a picture for target buck.
That's right.
Let's see them. We gotta have some. We gotta have some goals this year.
Look a lot smaller without that velvet, too.
They do. That's
They
amazing.
do, man. It's coming off right now, too, son.
It is.
You think you got a stud and that stuff comes off. You're like, well,
Look
daggum.
at that dink.
85-inch deer right there.
85. I'm bad. I'm hard on them 85. But anyway, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us here today, and we will be back to do it again. But for right now, we gone.